because Ethan Ampadu has been named club captain. What are your thoughts on that decision?
I'm pleased with it. I'm pleased with that decision because there's talk that the manager, the big characters in the dressing room are leaving the club. You know, Liam Cooper's deal looks to have stalled. It looks to have been offered a new deal, but obviously not to his satisfaction, and the lack of game time that he's had under Daniel Farke and the potential lack of game time next year, he's going to want to play. So Liam Cooper's heavily linked with Blackburn Rovers at the moment. It's looking like that move could happen imminently. And then with Luke Ayling moving to Middlesbrough, the characters in the dressing room are moving on. And there's talk that the manager doesn't like dealing with big characters in the dressing room, whether it's something that he's done all his career or not. But actually, with Ampadu, they look to have a voice there. Pascal Struijk, when he got given the captaincy, that would follow the suit of the manager not dealing with big characters and quite happily wants a harmonious, quiet dressing room that he dictates to. The players, there's got to be a leadership group in there. But you look at the leadership group, he announced Ampadu as the captain, Struijk and Meslier as vice captains. So I think Ampadu out of the three is obviously the stronger of the characters. And I think he was excellent last year when he slotted in at centre half. I'm pleased that he's been named captain. I think there are a couple of players light going into next season, but I'm still optimistic with Leeds going into next season. I think they've been linked with Szmodics from Blackburn. If they can get that deal over the line, that would be an incredible signing for them if they are to lose potentially Somerville. But as far as the captaincy goes, I think Ampadu is the one to lead the dressing room, and I think he's a voice in the dressing room, and he'll give the players that voice.
Picking up on that, Paul, how much do you think Szmodics would cost, given that he was Championship top scorer last season, has proved it actually that he's a really good number 9 and an attacking midfielder? How much do you think he would cost Leeds if he is to sign?
20s, in the 20s, I would think, depending. I don't know his contract. I've not looked at it. But I think Blackburn are going to want a strong fee for him because single-handedly scored the goals last season. You look where Blackburn finished and you look where he finished in the goal-scoring charts, the assist charts, all the individual player charts last season. He was up there, and I think he probably ran Somerville close to the Championship Player of the Season last year. I think if they can bring somebody of his quality in, that would be a real coup. That would be a real statement signing. But obviously, I think unfortunately, because Leeds are in the Championship and the financial situation, I think it would be unlikely for him to come and Somerville stay. Whereas if Somerville did go and Szmodics was to come through the door as he was leaving, that would soften the blow for a lot of supporters. And I think you're bringing in a lot of goals because with Somerville, yes, he scored the goals, but then you look around the team, whether it's Rutter, whether it's Patrick Bamford, who wasn't fit for a number of games last season, they haven't had that out-and-out number 9, whether it's Pirro, Rutter, Dan James is a false 9. Patrick Bamford hasn't played as a full season. We rely on his fitness, but somebody like Szmodics would be a real statement signing for Leeds.
Picking up on that, Pete, we know obviously that Somerville, there could be some testing bids potentially from West Ham. Is there an update, please, on his future and actually for the potential bidding war that is to open soon?
Yeah, obviously it's going to be an ongoing situation, I think, during this transfer window. As regards Somerville's future, we know there is a lot of interest in him from Premier League clubs. Brighton showed a bit of interest at the start of the window. It seems now that West Ham have made contact with the Leeds to register their interest, but it does seem the two clubs are pretty far apart in their valuations of the player. I don't think West Ham want to go any higher than 20 million, while Leeds are holding out for 35 plus, maybe for Crescencio Somerville as well. So any deal looks pretty far off right now for West Ham and Somerville as well, but Fulham are also interested in him there, like Somerville as potential replacement for Willian, who hasn't signed a new contract at Craven Cottage. I'm sure there'll be other clubs looking at Somerville as well. There's Rennes in France have again expressed a bit of an interest in the Dutchman as well. So he's not going to be shortage of suitors this summer. There's no doubt about that. It's just whether any interested club can meet the price tag that Leeds have put on his head. Leeds well within the rights to ask what they want for Crescencio Somerville, and I think £35 million is the going rate for a player who was named Championship Player of the Year last year. They've sold Archie Gray for £40 million, so I think you got to put Somerville in that similar price bracket. And the player himself does seem like he's not pushing for any move just yet or anything. He's just getting his head down and concentrating on the new season ahead, which is positive news for Leeds United. But the ideal scenario for Leeds would be obviously, if clubs do come in for Somerville, that there is a bit of a bidding war that comes, and that would maybe put his price up. And obviously, Leeds can really cash in then if it does come to fruition, and clubs are battling each other to try and land Somerville as well. But I still think that the player himself probably will leave Elland Road before they close the transfer window. I think there is so much interest in him that somebody will stump up the money, and Leeds will reluctantly accept it and use it maybe elsewhere to strengthen their squad.
One of those other names mentioned, Pete, has been Jesser and Rasaki, potentially to replace Somerville. Have you got a valuation on him, please? And actually, would he be an ideal replacement for Somerville if someone like Schmodic, say, isn't to come in?
Yeah, he's a talented player. Obviously, he had a very good loan spell at Charlton, but he hasn't really played much at Crystal Palace, so there would be question marks over him in that respect, that he hasn't played at the highest level really yet. But there's no doubt in his talent. There's real potential there. He's a real direct winger who likes to attack players, get crosses in, score goals, create goals as well. The problem for Leeds right now is that there is a lot of competition for his signature. Southampton have made a bid for him of around £7 million, which was rejected. There's talk that Southampton could come back with an improved offer as well of around £12 million. I'm not too sure Leeds will be willing to do that for Rasaki as well. A lot of this depends on what Crystal Palace want to do with the player. My understanding is that they don't really want to sell him. They want to keep him and would prefer to loan him, and that might give Leeds an advantage if Palace decide we don't want to sell him to a Premier League rival in Southampton, just in case he goes there and rips it up, and it might look a bit bad on Palace in that respect. But yeah, if the loan option's there, I'm sure Leeds will definitely be exploring that. But I think there's a lot of Championship clubs who are looking at Rasaki. I think Sheffield United are also very keen, and there's other teams such as Watford and Luton and QPR who would also be interested in Rasaki. But yeah, he's definitely got potential. But I don't think Leeds would be looking at a potential permanent move for Rasaki right now as well. It's probably a loan deal, but a lot will depend on what Crystal Palace will do, because Southampton are ready there to try and sign him on a permanent basis.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing from Leeds, it's a loan deal. I think that's what they'd be looking to do. But I think they've had their head pushed away a little bit, because what I hear is that the players' preference is Southampton. Obviously, they've come in for a permanent and a loan, and I think anything that Leeds try and do will be difficult, as I'm hearing that the players' preference is to go to Southampton.
And Paul, to wrap up with the insider sources, do we know of any other potential moves that Leeds are looking at? What other positions are they targeting to sort of wrap up their window going into the last few weeks?
Again, it's the wide attacking areas, depending on the futures of Somerville and Yonta. I think there's still undercurrents of Rutter, the deal for Rutter for Brighton, that they came to the table at around 30 million. I don't think that's going away. And I think with Daniel Farke, what he's done, bringing Bogle in, I think it was a good move. We talked about it last week. And I think they've gone out, they've paid the money, and it's an area of the team where Archie Gray played at right back for the second half of last season. They've lost Luke Ayling, and that was a real must that they had to bring a player in. Joe Rodon, I think that deal was a must. The others that they've brought in, I think they're now waiting to see. Basically, the manager's waiting to see what he's going to have to deal with. We talk about Nyonto, we talk about Somerville. I don't see those as being quick deals. I think they're going to be there at the start of the season, maybe not the end of the window, which causes the manager problems. And I think we'll see another couple of players coming in. I mean, the Schmodic deal would be a great one to do, because I do think that they need an out-and-out 9 if Patrick Bamford's not going to be fit or reliable for the whole season. But I think it's in the top end of the field, the forward third of the field, that they will look. But I think, again, hugely depends, recruitment depends on what leaves the club.
You've just watched a segment from Football Insider's brand new podcast, The Inside Track, with me, Lewis Pearce, alongside the guests on the show. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do give the video a like, comment your thoughts on the topic, and feel free to share on your social media pages. If you want to listen to the full podcast episode, click the link in the description below. Keep your eyes peeled for plenty more content and exclusives here on The Inside Track.